Welcome back, Wildcard Improv, to another Wildcast episode. What?
Oh my goodness.
We're gonna be talking.
We're back.
Yeah. We're gonna be talking about the shows from 222. We're gonna be upfront about this. We were really busy backstage, so if we missed some of your games this week, we are so sorry.
Yes, apologies in advance for that. I was I was doing audio this week, so I think a lot of performers noticed because they would joke about how I'm just awkwardly sitting to the corner, and I loved it. Sometimes when you guys weren't in scenes, you would just stand next to me and wait for your time to get on stage, and you'll just tell me random things, and I'm like, pay attention to the scene.
That's crazy. I was running paperwork backstage, so you guys were talking to me backstage while I was sitting there, and I'm like, I'm missing what's happening out there. So...
But it's okay, because those will be sprinkled into our notes, maybe. Some random fun moments throughout the day.
It's true. I have a lot of those.
Let's get right into this.
Sweet.
Let's cut out all the nitty-gritty. Let's get straight into it. First game of the week over at Chaparral High School was Valley versus Secta.
I thought this was a fun show from what I watched.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it.
Opened with GTA.
Yeah, is this the first GTA of the season?
No, cause Del Sol and someone else did it. Talk about GTA while I find it.
All right. Well, GTA, we had some goofy little bits in this one. So there's a Roblox scene that I liked. So Christian, so I think in the front seat was Martin and Cameron talking about Roblox, and in the back seat you kind of have Christian doing like his like Roblox moves, you know, like the whole walking and everything. I don't know how to explain it. I haven't played much Roblox in my life, but he was standing like the Roblox guys and doing all the motions. Super, super funny. Christian, hats off to you. Ethan and Matilda were cooking in the scenes over at Secta during this GTA. A lot of the scenes tended to be like led by them, like they were like mom and dad in the car type energy. But wow, what was his name? Jonathan? What? His name looks like John and Noah on my notes.
It's probably
sure
Jonathan. I think it's Jonathan.
It's Jonathan.
It's definitely Jonathan.
Jonathan was doing very good. He was just sprinkling in all these little lines consistently. So you'll have like Ethan and Matilda, like, you know, both kind of cooking, doing their craziness. You know how Ethan operates by now if you've been watching these. Ethan is always out there, huge character, all of that. And then you have Matilda, who can just bounce off of his energy and just make this unhinged postal madness. And then
I have a comment. Just go for it first.
that awoke you. And then we had Jonathan just sprinkling into their mayhem, and it was a nice combo seeing the three of them all together. I don't know if I had a other big one.
I just really like that they got robots at one point. And one of them goes, Bender is our spokesperson. That's a stereotype, and you know it. And I was like, huh? That's crazy.
Oh, no. Oh, Remy Malek is going crazy somewhere right now that it's all about Bender.
Oh,
all I'm going to say is I think Ethan at some point in their slideshow scene was running around. I think he tried to climb a chair or something. He did something that required way too much physical activity for anyone to have to realistically do on stage. And only I, being in the corner, quietly heard the bad word that he sputtered out of his mouth when he was climbing said object.
So there was almost a potty mouth foul this week?
It was a silent one. It was one like where no one else could hear it.
But you did.
Yeah. It was like when someone, I don't want to say that. It was like when someone silently farts in an elevator and only one person smells it.
Ew.
You're like right next to them and you go, this guy right here, he definitely No one else knows, but he did that.
That's gross.
So yeah.
That's a gross
So
comparison.
Ethan, credit to you. And speaking of farts, that may or may not have been related to the word you said.
I also really like, at one point, someone went, looks like a fight inside the Waffle House. I was like, that's crazy. This entire slideshow honestly really towed that line of what we can allow.
Yeah. Ethan went in the audience as one of the slideshow pictures.
Oh, I loved it, personally.
So that's always a big thing. Well,
slideshow is also really, really good because Matilda had this really good recovery in it. And I want to bring it up. Cause gang, I'm gonna be real. Guns are incredibly touchy and scary to use in scenes, especially when we're playing for like all ages. But Matilda had this really, really good recovery of like, he carries around an Orbeez gun because he's weird. And I'm like, oh, phew.
Especially knowing the, let's never acknowledge it outside of just the Wildcast. Especially the amount of postal that lives in Matilda's brain. Taking the moment to see a gun and calling it an Orbeez gun is amazing. And if you heard me say that word, don't bother to search it up. It's a game that's not that special. Haha, Matilda, you just got roasted.
Postal's just a weird game about the Postal Service.
Boom, roasted. Is that? Oh, inner monologue. So I was on the audio, and the computer. There's two different sound bites for potential inner monologue sounds. One of them is like film noir detective jazz. Okay. Film noir detective jazz piano.
Wait, let's just time out. What was that?
I've learned this the other day. I guess I learned this through FaceTime, but I guess it works as well here. Certain things you do, it just like it puts them up. Is it 2 thumbs up? There's one that's like 2 thumbs up. All right, we're continuing. We're back to the. We just educated the youth. Okay.
Is it gonna make it in?
Might as well.
Blooper reel.
The inner monologue sounds. We're not working. One thing. There's one that's like film noir detective jazz piano, which I think it has like a rain sound effect in it, which coming through the speakers, it just sounds like. And so as they're trying to do the inner monologues, you just hear quietly, and I was like, oh my goodness. I went for the other one. It's not our usual sound. It worked. It was like jazzy, but it wasn't the usual sound. But it was okay. We did manage to get through an inner monologue, which was fun.
I need it to be known, the first note I wrote on here is just Godspeed Geo.
I was trying. It wasn't my fault. I kid you not. One of them literally is like the same audio thing that I think the actual like usual like inner monologue is. So I pressed that one, and it was not in. I was like, I'm learning.
Aside from the audio junk, I thought
I could have just I should have just boom 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 boom. I should have just. Point being, I had one line that I really really liked from inner monologue. I don't even remember how I think Christian set it up. He was like a kid of sorts who was like upset. And he was like, and they're gonna have to wait, and they're gonna get a taste of my car keys.
I wrote that down too.
He goes like back in. I think he just like chucks it like instantly. Oh, that was so good.
No, I also just thought it was really funny that all their names were Jeff, Jason, and JJ. Just all J names.
The big 3 of names. You know what I mean? Those are names that are what was it? Like ripple effect.
Yeah. From what I watched, because I did walk backstage at some point during this,
okay.
God, there were so many I really like the character variety in Inner Monologue. Because I think what makes this game super strong and the most fun version of it to watch is when all of them have different motivations to be up there. Like, Martin, for whatever reason, was like an undercover spy kind of character, and I think that, like, added such a fun layer to the scene when you're juxtaposed to Christian, who's like, I'm a little kid and I don't know where my mom went.
That team, I'm so glad seeing how Christian and Martin have managed to like bounce off of each other really, really well as performers, and they have grown. And then Cameron finding his way to just try to fit in with them and everything. It's been a fun watch this season. Where are we? I want to say the next game that I felt was really like kind of worth noting is that I liked was Hijinks.
I was backstage during this.
You were backstage? Okay. So one of my favorite notes from Hijinks that I have is because obviously Hijinks is a game where you have to do what's going on in scene. All of my favorite parts of Hijinks predominantly weren't during the scenes.
What does that mean?
I was so distracted by all the randomness that Sekta was doing off to the side that it was like throwing me off. Like all of a sudden, Matilda comes over to me before they get on stage. Matilda goes, "Your emceeing is good, man. It's funny. You're doing a great job." And I was like, "Thank you, Matilda. I appreciate that." And then I look back over, and then so their scene concludes, and then Valley's doing their scene, and then Jonathan is just sitting on Ethan's lap like Ethan is Santa Claus. Like it's just, like what's going on? Like, how did this get to here? It's not even something someone has to replicate. They're just doing it off to the side. He's just sitting on his lap and he's just watching this scene. Like, why are they doing that? Continuing, there is a really good bit that I liked from Christian. I think they had a superhero scene, and it ends with Christian going, "Hammer, hammer, hammer, hammer."
Oh no.
Yeah. Hijinks. It was so odd because half the time I was just laughing because I would look and see something else that was going on the stage that was just making me giggle. I was like, "What's going on?" It was so chaotic. It was so funny. Their hijinks was so good. Continuing.
Sidebar, there was just something in the air during the entire day.
Yeah.
I think this is gonna be an ongoing note we're gonna have during this is just the sheer amount of chaotic energy from everyone this weekend was like palpable.
And then I had a couple quotes. I think this was the justification scene for Sekta after seeing Valley's scene. I forgot what was going on. I think it was the same hammer scene. And I forgot how Ethan set it up. He was like thinking that something was some form of like God. And it was Jonathan who turned out to be like a ditch. Like just a random hole in the ground. And Ethan goes, I mistook this ditch for a god." And it was so goofy. And then Matilda comes out and goes, "Ditch? Don't dig a ditch." And I was like, "What's good?" I was like, every time I hear this word, I am like secretly freaking out. But it is so funny.
Oh, because you think they're gonna say a potty mouth foul?
It felt so close every single time. They used the word ditch maybe 12 times in the scene. And it was the alliteration of ditch, don't dig a ditch. That's a ditch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh my, stop. Just stop saying it.
They were saying that because it sounded like.
Oh, they are having so much fun. Yeah, fun game overall. Sekta pulled out the win at the end of it. Great intro game. We're back into the next one.
LVA
versus
Sierra Vista.
This was
an unintentional bye week for both teams.
Yeah, but they needed it. They had to warm up. They had to get, back in their roots.
They were doing like shows at both their schools, I'm pretty sure was why they weren't here. So we had a mix of a bunch of kids from different teams.
Yeah, which I will like to say before we even get to anything about the games that were played, LVA is still undefeated, guys. They got another one this week.
You're welcome.
LVA is 3.5-0 right now. They are on a winning streak. Someone stop OVA.
Oh God. There.
It can't be done.
Uh, First line, last
Yeah.
line.
First line, last line.
I just want to point out that the Pope of Dopeness is such a banger suggestion, and to give that to Doc specifically.
Half of my notes from this are all just quotes.
Oh, most of this is quotes, because there's this one where it's like, where is it? What troubles you, my child, in dopeness?
Yeah, it's Doc's delivery of every single line that makes it just so Doc coded. And so Doc was working with Emma in this scene. Emma did an amazing job at indulging Doc into allowing him to be as crazy and quirky as possible, while she goes, "Oh, I think I understand," like kind of like energy, like just to let him keep just rambling. And yeah, there's the what troubles you, my child, in dopeness. Like it's just so funny to me every time. And I think another one was, "Please God, get me out of here."
Yeah, no, and I also wrote down, taxes are not very dope. aside from that though, I do want to say Kazu and Honor was probably one of my highlight scenes from this game, though.
Yes.
Because they had such, like, a meta scene. For reference, everyone today was wearing clown noses and clown gear for some reason, and Honor just goes,
True.
"Have a honka day at Starbucks," while, like, squeezing a nose.
And then our last group in that first line, last line was Roman and Matilda. Performer Roman, for people who go Roman. And Roman had a quote in there that I found super funny of, "It's not an island, it's a massive land unclaimed." Yes, so Roman is the, like, Roman and Doc, whenever I get to see them both in a show, they are the two versions of my humor, like, on stage at the same time. Where Roman is as dry as physically, like, not physically possible, but like energy wise, just so dry. Every single joke is as dry as possible, and it's so funny. And then you just have Doc, who says things that, like, I'm not sure if anyone was ever thinking, and that makes it so funny. You just have to surprise me and say things that are, like, the right amount of, like,
It came up again. What the?
What was that? Was it a thumb?
I think so.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah.
For that game of first line, last line, everyone, you guys get 2 big thumbs up. Oh, it's so fun. I'm gonna use as many of these as I can.
Oh my god. It was just a really aside from all the bits, first line last line was just really well done. I was really happy watching it too. Like, from a technical standpoint, I think everyone did, like, a really good job keeping their scenes together and having a really logical progression of time. Interrogation.
Oh my goodness. I have quotes
There's
from this. So before we even started, because the way we do interrogation, it's accomplice, right? Like, who's the person they were with?
It's fake crime, so, like, crime that's not really a crime, accomplice, and where it happened.
And where it happened. Okay. So for a while, the way that I remember it being done was, it used to be, like, you are the person that did it, and, like, once you figure out who the character is, you usually have to turn into that character suddenly, like, on the spot.
There's 2 ways to play
because you're like,
it.
"Oh yeah, I'm SpongeBob." Yeah, because there's, like, different ways. So we've been doing accomplice, so you can have a character, which makes Doc's lines so much just make sense and makes it so funny. Doc started off the game by going, "For 3 years, we've been hearing reports about the gold digger from Milwaukee." And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, 3 years the gold digger from Milwaukee's been doing this.
There's just a lot of really good quotes. Hold on, let me just get through the quotes before we get to notes. Because there's another one where I think Matilda just looks at Doc and goes, "Are you calling me fat?" Yeah.
Yeah. It was Kazu that answers yeah, I think.
Yeah,
so
Kazu.
It is, Matilda goes, yeah, that's my next quote is, are you calling me fat? And then Kazu just goes, yeah. And then they just continue. Like,
And
it
then,
meant nothing.
and then also, I think it's Kazu's going, you have an accomplice, really ominously.
um, uh,
It's
yeah,
just,
no, there's, Dog had a bunch of hints towards hut, like the word hut. And I forgot how he was doing it, but it was like so, like, he was like, it's, like a building. And they were like, a house? And he's like, yeah, but with like a bunch of small sticks. And it's like the way he was trying to get Hut out of Matilda was so funny for this game of interrogation. What else do we have in here? I have
I said
there's this one bit.
Kazu.
Oh, this is a carrying on bit from last week. Last week we had that bit of people constantly spinning Doc around in the middle of games. Matilda got out of the interrogation seat, spun Doc around, and then sat back into the interrogation seat. So funny. You had a line?
Kazu was cooking this entire interrogation too, though. I really just want to give props to Kazu here, because, oh my god, Kazu had such a funny character that, like, perfectly volleyed off of both of them. Because the thing about both Matilda and Doc is that they just keep talking, and it's really funny. But Kazu just somehow will just say a line and, like, ground it really, really fast, while still contributing to the, like, chaoticness of
Yeah, Kazu's so good at being able to like pull those little like, what would that be, pins? I don't know, and just get things to make sense. Just always making things actually make sense in the scene, especially having partners like Doc and Matilda where they're gonna get unhinged fast. Having someone be able to like pull it and make it like, oh yeah, that makes sense, works wonders.
It's just it was so
I have a line
good.
of Kazu going, I'm a grown man. And then Doc going, and I'm a very big boy.
So good.
Oh my goodness. This game just had me giggling and hooting and hollering.
It was just solid.
Yeah, it was a solid interrogation. They had funny characters. It was good. Solid game. Deleted scenes from Sierra Vista?
I'm so sad I missed this because I had to go backstage to help Wex Tech.
I wanted to say, what did I have in here? I forgot what the movie was, but it basically just resulted in Honor and Roman just roasting each other, but like actually roasting each other.
In what way?
I forgot what it was. I don't know which one said what, but then Roman goes, yeah, well, you have Avatar on your shirt. And I was like, I don't even know what movie this is. But they just they roasted each other so politely. Like, it was things that you could tell they probably both have common interests in. Like, getting roasted for having Avatar on your shirt is so unfortunate. And I forgot what it was. I don't know. That was what I gathered from deleted scenes. Apart from that, I think it was a pretty solid game. So, what do I have in here? Radio, I'm going to go past pretty quickly. There was a few things in it. I gave them a suggestion about All Grown Up, the sequel series to Rugrats, but if they were like even further grown up, so like now they're like actually adults. They were all so confused. I loved it.
Are they too young for
I'm
Rugrats?
not that old.
Are they too young for Rugrats?
They were too young for Rugrats. It was sad. It was Spain.
Without the
S, like times 6,000. But I did. So Doc's was what was it? I think it was like Anthony Pigeon, the less famous brother of Tony Hawk, and he just constantly was like devolving, like becoming more and more needy of Tony. And I think he eventually has this time where he goes, hey, big bro, if you're hearing this, I need some cash. And then, even he would have like one line at a time. The audience was eating it up. Doc, you're so funny, man. We give you a lot of praise in these, but it's because you just have so many quotes that are just so absurd and they're so funny. and we just try to give you that credit. I also had Honor was so funny in this game as well. I can't even remember what his scene was, but he was making me giggle every time he said anything. He was making me giggle. Radio was a solid game all around, though. I think everyone did a very, very good job. There was so much in that show. I think every single performer in that show had a chance to shine. All of them. So you guys all just mixing and matching and being at Sierra Vista and LVA. I think both schools would be very, very happy to have both of you perform on their behalf. So you guys did amazing. So hold yourselves very high for that.
West Tech versus Clark.
Ooh, wow, getting straight into West Tech. That kind of works out. West Tech versus Clark. Oh, also, can we give credit? Last show, I just realized Matilda, back-to-back show.
Yeah.
Didn't even take a break. Went in, out, back out. Great job, Matilda.
Same with Kazu and Honor with this show.
Oh my gosh, yeah, you're right. They were also in because they were just in their show and then they come in on this show. All right, you guys are doing great. We're so proud of you. Thank you all. Oh man, all the props towards all performers ever. Yes, West Tech, Clark. Who else was in it? And then Christian was also in as for Clark. Mm-hmm. West Tech vs. Clark was a fun game. Town Hall.
Cackling during this Town Hall.
I'll let you. We all know what this show had a very, very heavy theme. And it began from the jump.
So, Olivia has this hysterical ongoing bit I'm noticing of pulling up Wikipedia to play a character. So, Town Hall's suggestion was licorice. And Olivia just goes, I'm Emperor Shenong. I discovered licorice in China, and and it's a medicinal thing. You wouldn't be alive if it weren't for me. And I was like, huh? Who is this? But then, like, spoilers, Emperor Shenong just becomes a recurring bit through this entire show.
Yes. Yeah.
But aside from that, everyone's character in this just had a pop every time they, like, spoke about something. Mm-hmm. Kat was the mayor for this with you, Gio.
I was secretary.
Yeah.
I just take notes.
Kat had this really funny line of going, 2 years? That's more than one! I was like, that's ridiculous.
What was it that I noticed with this game that I really liked? So Emperor Shenong, being the bit, it's so funny too, because once I heard that is the inventor of licorice, it made me realize there is a 0% chance Emperor Shenong is the exact person who created licorice. If this is geohistory here, if you ever see that an emperor created something, like an ancient Chinese emperor created something, oh, look at that. It knows I'm right. Just know there was some sad, unfortunate man who did create this, and the emperor was like, no, I created this. And they were like, okay, I like having a head on my body.
Yep.
So that is ancient history. So Emperor Shenong 100% made licorice, though. This one's different. Emperor Shenong's the exception. And actually made licorice. Yeah, you'll notice they were credited with like hundreds of inventions. Every single like ancient Chinese emperor. It's so funny. Thank you, Emperor Shenong. We appreciate you, especially because you come back in this next game of Inner Monologue.
Before we go to Inner Monologue, I need to point out some of the other things that made me laugh in this one. Specifically, Christian being Rocco. In terms of the Rocco versus Elmo beef, I was like, that is a ridiculous character to pull out in this specific scene.
Wow, that barely connected in my head. I had that character. I was laughing. I understood him being Rocco, and I didn't understand who Rocco was. I'm so old. I thought he was being Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life the entire time, and I was like, what a great pull.
No, I did initially too, but then he mentioned Elmo and the cookie, and I was like, oh.
Yes, he's that Rocco. If you've never seen who Rocco is, let's put Rocco right on screen right now. Bam! That's Rocco right
Which
there.
Rocco did I just put on the screen?
Huh?
Which Rocco am I putting up there?
You don't know who Rocco is?
No, which one? Am I putting the rock or the man? Dog. Is he a dog?
Rocco's Modern Life. No, Rocco's from Rocco's Modern Life. We don't care about him right now. We're talking about the Rocco, the legit Rocco that we're talking about here. Bam,
There we
right there
go.
again.
Yeah.
Second one for in case that got canceled. Not canceled, but like removed. Yeah, we understand what I'm saying. Yes, more bits. Did you have more from Town Hall that you really liked?
Honor also had this really funny character voice. I thought that was really funny. Also, there was this. Okay, I don't understand this joke because I'm either old or stupid. I don't know, and I'm gonna ask if you understood it. Why did they keep saying pickle this licko rice? I didn't get it.
I think it just kind of roughly rhymes.
Okay.
I think I did not understand it either, but I was like, I trust y'all.
It's because someone at some point said, pickle this. I thought they were going to have licko rice. And I was like, I'm confused. But I'm laughing.
I not once did I accredit that joke, but I heard that joke a bunch of times. So I did forget that existed until right now, and I do remember them saying it a lot, being very confused and finding it funny.
But also, last bit I'm going to give props to is Nick with the 9 out of 10 poll. Because, everyone who's been in the show knows 9 out of 10 has been played at least once every show for some reason.
Yeah, it's popular.
But Nick just, like, kind of, like, pointed out, he was like, I'm that one doctor that doesn't like licorice. And I was like, ah.
That's true. I did hear that.
And I like when people make callbacks or, like, reference other games in a game. I'm like, that's really funny to me.
That's, yeah. No, it was a great town hall. They knew what they were doing. I think West Tech has done a couple town halls, or at least I've seen it twice where Olivia was able to at least pull out Wikipedia on everybody and break down who the creator of something was.
It's very funny.
And Emperor Shaynong made licorice. Not pickle this.
Or pickle this.
Licko rice. Licko rice? I don't know the joke. I don't
get it either. Anyways, inner monologue.
We're too old. I think I think Olivia. So my notes evolve here. It's one of those things where I had something that, because inner monologue is a game where you start to learn more about the characters. I had Olivia go and say something about, like, I was like, Emperor, like someone was like Emperor Shaynong when they looked at Olivia, and it was like ooh, we might be on the verge of learning something that is Emperor Shaynong. And of course, instantly the next moment we had, I think Olivia goes into another room and then comes back out as Emperor Shaynong. I was like, yeah, there we go. I'm so hyped. Nick instantly playing off it with, sir, I haven't seen you in a millennia, and starts praying to Emperor Shaynong.
There's also Nick just going, can I stand, my lord? And Olivia just going, yeah. like so nonchalantly about it. I thought that was such a funny, like, just difference between the two of them in that scene.
And I think it's also great. Part of the bit is that wherever they were working, Emperor Shaynong is who hired Nick
at the dentist.
Start working there. Yeah, as a dentist. That's great. Kaylin, it was a clueless child in this game, and Kaylin plays clueless child, I think, really, really well. And I almost hate the clueless child character. I love Kaylin's version of it. So there is a bit that is used in every single clueless child, and I don't want to say now you can never do it again, but letting you know, if you ever go, how old are you? And they go, I'm this many.
I do that all the time. I'm gonna be real, guys.
That is like the moment your clueless child goes this many, I'm like, oh, I know who this character is. Kaylin didn't even have to do that to be a clueless child. I was like, oh, I know how many Kaylin is, and it is hilarious.
Kaylin also did this really funny thing at the very end. Again, this is my age showing, and sang this song that every other high schooler in the audience understood and laughed at, and I'm sitting here and I'm like, what's this referencing?
I think I know what you're talking about because this was a game we were sitting near each other, right? I think at this point in the show, Sean had taken over.
Sean took over, and that's why the audio got better. That's a joke.
I don't blame
That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke.
I don't blame me.
Joke.
I will say Sean had a great teacher.
Okay, for context for everyone about the audio, Gio came in, had 10 minutes to figure it out, and then went for it.
I figured it out.
And then Sean took over. I think at this point, I was sitting next to you, and I was like, what is this? Because I was confused. But it was really good. Also, I think they all three of them had this really good chemistry of like the Clueless character, Olivia being a rotating door between the Valley Girl mom and Emperor Shenong, and poor Nick, who is the straight man employee.
Yeah, who also like worships Emperor Shenong, like hard. One of my notes for Nick's character is Nick loving/adores Emperor Shenong. Also, the way I spelled Emperor Shenong the entire show is different every single time.
Yeah. I had to ask Chelsea.
I've still never Googled Shenong. I'll never know.
Oh, it's because Chelsea Googled him next to me, and I was like, how do you spell that? Okay, got it.
Is it S-H-A-I?
No. It's
S-H. Each. It is ancient. He might have his own text.
It's S-H-E-N-N-O-G.
For reference, Emperor Shenong invented the each as well. You could search it up through the things he's probably accredited for inventing, and each is in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dime Store novel.
Let's see. Their Dime Store novel, the story that Clark had to tell for Dime Store novel, which I'm super hyped that they played this game. I had taught them this game only a few weeks ago. So hyped to see them playing it. That's cool. That's dope. They were playing Emperor Shenong, what is it, Roderick Rules. They played off of each other so well. I think this inner monologue and this Dime Store novel, both team choices were so good. Like I'm giving high praise to both. Honor was setting them up super well as the writer. I think he was just giving them alley-oops, and they were dunking it every single time. Kazu was probably driving the scene, right, keeping the scene going like forward and stuff. So then Honor can always set up the next bit. But when you give Christian a moment to like be given something and then he's allowed to just do it, is when Christian really shines. And Christian getting hit with I think he was told to be a downbeat dad.
Yes. I wanted to comment on this.
Yes, go ahead. You go ahead.
Because Christian, oh my god, I just want to praise this specific skill a lot, is when people are given something and they just go immediately into it instead of like hesitating. Because Christian was like in the middle of saying something. Honor goes, he's a deadbeat dad. Yeah, I'll get to it after my nap. And I was like, that's crazy.
Because it was perfect. He got into character so fast. The moment he was told to be a deadbeat dad, the way he did, I'll get into it after my nap, is I think he was told to do something, and then he walks around, goes over to the chairs, and just goes, yeah, I'll get into it after my nap, and then just falls on the chairs and just lays down.
It's so good. Also, Kazu just is so good at setting up people really well in this.
Yes.
Because, one thing I really like, here's this thing that I think Dime Store really relies on, especially with the way Clark played it specifically, where Honor was mostly there as like a, I'm gonna mess with the scene role, where Kazu is, I'm going to push the scene forward.
Yes.
And then you have... Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, and then you had Christian as... You have Christian as the, I am just going to react to everything. Yeah. It's like the perfect trifecta right there.
No, they did it so well. That's kind of what I was trying to imply with the like little like Kazu driving scene. Like Kazu is like literally like usually that narrator spot you're kind of put into messing with them and driving the scene forward. right? And the performers are just kind of reacting. It's like kind of like a slideshow if the slides were like actively going. You know what I mean? But seeing as Kazu's just kind of able to just take it and keep the story flowing, where Honor can just kind of build off of where the story's going, it made it work, and it looked so good. And yeah, they played it so well. Christian coming over from Valley and playing for Clark, he fit right in. He managed to find a role in the game, and he was just, I'm gonna make jokes when given setup for joke. Honor perfectly knew how to put out the goofiest things for them to possibly do, and Kazu just knows how to lead a scene. All props to you guys for that Dime Store novel. Dime Store novel is one of my favorite improv games ever. So
Kazu and Honor.
whenever I see it,
Sorry.
so happy.
Yes. Kazu and Honor also just play off each other super well. Like, I
Yeah.
like watching those two play off each other a lot, because both of them just look like they're having so much fun when they're playing together. And I think for me, like, that's the best kind of improv, is when you can tell the people on stage are having fun. Like, even if you're playing a game wrong, I think just going out there and just being like, this is so much fun. You won. You won. You are doing improv correctly.
Yeah, if the performers on stage are having fun, you're having fun. I think that's something that I feel like our style of comedy is a lot of that, is whenever the performers are just having fun, we almost feel like we're in on the game with them. And so now we're all just enjoying the game. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes the scene doesn't even make any sense, you know, and it's just hilarious. I'm hooting, I'm hollering, I'm laughing, and man, that's that's, I think this is a good display for West Tech and Clark in that sense. Christian managed to fit in and find a way. I think Christian's also becoming like friends with Honor, so like they know how to bounce off of each other a bit more. But Honor and Kazu have that mold where they're able to just go forward like that. And then same thing with West Tech. They all just know how to work together. So it's almost like a family aspect as an audience. So them starting off a town hall, bringing the audience into their show already from the jump, amazing. Keep in mind, this game was Emperor Shenong, Roderick Rules.
Emperor Shenong was in everything today. If there's anything I want to... Sorry.
Oh.
If there's anything I want to praise about this year for improv in the league is, I love seeing everyone become friends with each other from different schools. Because it's like, when I did this in high school, I wasn't really friends with a lot of people outside of my team. So seeing just like everyone just wanting to work together, I'm like, guys, improv is the friends we made along the way.
It really is. This year, that is, you know, I'm gonna end a speech at some point with that. Improv, the real improv, was the friends we made along the way. And then I'm gonna hit him with one of these. You ready?
It's the delay. It's the delay is what makes that so funny.
I'm definitely pre-warning for anyone watching the Wildcast. It's ending with that 100% chance. Hi, Jinx. Oh my goodness, what? I don't even remember what it was. I put Honor's gibberish is insanely funny. I can't even. Do you remember what he was saying with his gibberish?
I was backstage again.
Oh my goodness, I can't even remember what it was. I was giggling with Honor's gibberish. I forgot what he was making some noises that were so goofy. So funny. Emperor Shenong returned in Hijinks.
He did?
But this time he was in frog form. Which was really, really good. Let's see. And I put, why is everyone stuck on the bit? I think Emperor Shenong, both times Emperor Shenong showed up in the scenes was the justification. Dang it, I'm now being covered in more like confetti. Both times Emperor Shenong showed up in the scenes, he was like actively being like in the justification scene, never the setup scene.
He just kept reappearing because people wanted him there.
So like neither scene actually had Emperor Shenong in it, but every single time, both times in Hijinks, they were like, Emperor Shayna. I was like, stop. Why is everyone so stuck on Emperor Shayna? He's made it into every single scene. The real invention that he did was manage to be a joke that comes in every single scene. And it's like the driving force behind half of them. The only game in this show that Emperor Shayna did not appear in was a game of categories.
I missed this too.
Yeah, the last game was categories. Roman was explaining hands up, which I completely understand. To which then Cat had to explain its categories. So W Cat for being able to explain a game. I had one line from this. Honestly, we could skip this categories bit, but because my only line is also from Honor, who's been tiptoeing all day today, and it was Cookie. No, it was. I think they were doing brands, and he goes Oreo. And they go, which is also a... And he goes, edible?
That's crazy.
No, Honor. No, that is not what Oreo is also. It's so obviously supposed to be cookie.
Oh, that's good.
Oh,
that's
okay.
really good.
But yeah, so if we had to skip this bit, then man, West Tech, Clark, you guys bounce off of each other super well, and you know how to emperor some Shenongs. So we need more. We need more of you guys as much as possible. They're saying Emperor Shenong discovered tea.
That's what I was looking at.
When tea leaves blew into his boiling water. You see what I'm saying? That these emperors get credited for things.
He's also credited to be like a deity more than anything.
And he introduced acupuncture?
Dude,
yeah, no.
Homie did a lot. Preserving seeds by using boiled... Hold on. Here's a fun Shenong fact for you. According to Wikipedia, he preserving stored seeds by using boiled horse urine.
Oh, mine was that he's credited with trade, commerce, money, the weekly farmers market, and the Chinese calendar.
He did a lot.
He did a lot, right? Because it was obviously all Shenong. Like, Shenong he did all of it. You know what I mean? There's no way anyone else did any of these things, or did he get help from anyone?
Nope.
No, Shenong put China on his back. And in 2437 BC, Shenong was cooking.
Literally. Apparently, they ate pigs and cows and ox in honor of him.
All I'm saying is, if I had to guess who wrote history for that era, something tells me it might have been Emperor Shenong. he might have been the one writing history over 4,000 years ago.
Yes.
Overall, though, super good show. West Tech, Clark, be proud of yourselves.
Del Sol versus Ecta.
Ooh.
I was so excited about this for multiple reasons. One, this was a really interesting variety of games, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, they you guys chose a fun setup of games, which it was nice because a lot of these games weren't played too much this year. So that was dope to see. What do we have? We had
I Can Do That Better.
We opened up with an I Can Do That Better. And they
yeah.
Go ahead.
Poor host Roman, dude.
He's getting traumatized by this game.
This game, I think for those of you who don't know, there's this ongoing bit where every time I Can Do That Better is played, the very end goes, I can do that better. What can you do better? I can blow the whistle better. Okay.
I could be a better improv host than you. I will say this. Last week, there was an I Can Do That Better. I don't remember who it was. A student said, "Us better than Geo," and I was like, "Hey, whoa! I'm watching the scene." I was like, "Hey, dang it! This is why I'm never on stage." Because I was just over there like this, watching the scene, and then they just sat in my spot. I was like, "Okay, all right." I can't remember who did that. That was funny. So in this, I can do that better. Roman, performer Roman, was a hammer for like so much of the scene, and just I think for about 3 minutes, Roman was just doing this, which is such an arm workout. But they were just a hammer, and a lot of times they were floating actually in the scene.
At one point, I did write down, "Oh, the game broke already."
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read. I think I don't remember what the joke is, but I put Alejandro. Ha 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 ha. Ha. I don't even know what that note
Dude,
means.
Alejandro and oh god, what's their name? Ethan?
Oh, Ethan was cooking.
Ekta Ethan and Alejandro. Holy cow. Those two surprised me a lot because backstage, both of them were like, yeah, I'm cool doing anything, blah, blah, blah. I see them on stage, they're like popping every time they're speaking, and I'm like, what is Romeo feeding these kids at Ekta?
No, they're so funny. When I got to go to their practice, both of them were making me giggle. Yeah, so the hammer eventually was floating a lot. So Roman, there a lot of times in the scene, Roman would just be left there still hammering while no one's actively using the hammer. A lot of the I can do that betters in this game were like, I can go up a ladder better. And it was just like mundane tasks.
They were so
but like almost
funny,
never
though.
anything to move the scene. I think at one point, one of Ethan's I can do that betters was like, it was something that he proceeded to not do. He was like, I can do that better. It was like, and he did the exact opposite of it. Like, I think he was like as low energy or something like that version of doing it as possible. And it was so funny. But I think eventually someone was like that, pointed out the hammer was floating, and it was Doc. And the way he did it was, holy guacamole, there's a hammer floating. While actively being paused because someone is trying to do something better. So technically this is not the scene that the hammer is floating. But yeah, so I can do that better. And you just hear Doc over the crowd of silence. Holy guacamole, there's a hammer floating. I have a terrible impression of him, but oh my goodness. Like
it's just Nicolas Cage.
You just have to be there to hear how he says things. It's so funny every time.
Dude.
Like legit every single time. So funny.
There's also
oh my goodness.
My favorite note that I wrote in here was host Roman LOL losing his mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Roman was going bonkers watching this scene, and I loved. Oh my goodness. Oh, we want to talk about character work in this next game.
Oh my god.
And advice panel from Ekta
with Emma.
Oh my goodness. All three of them. Emma, Ethan, Alejandro. Holy badonkers. I don't know if that's a word.
Laughing so hard through this whole advice panel. I think this is probably one of the best advice panels, because I think if you're gonna play advice panel, this is like this like one of the standards you should be at, with like incredibly different characters with different energy, with like super specific answers to the questions.
I think this is a subtle thing about advice panel as well. So there's another game that's very similar to advice panel, which is called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't get taught that game. If you can think about the elements of that game and bring them into your advice panel, then you're subtly doing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where you have one person that gives you pretty good advice, I guess. It can kind of work. You have someone who gives you bad advice, you're like, it's not exactly great. And then someone who just gives you advice that isn't even the same thing. You saw the little thing. You have someone who gives you advice that just doesn't even help. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where Mullet Man Merle from Ethan just gave some of the greatest advice I could possibly think of. And it every single time he was done giving his advice, and Roman asks him the question like, wait, so do they like, because he's trying to understand what Mullet Man Merle just said. All Mullet Man Merle does is goes, this guy gets it.
So good. Oh my god. And also, I really like this. There's this quote at the very beginning where it's like, how long have you taught Taekwondo? How long? 2 minutes. It's like,
Yeah, that's Alejandro's Cobra Kai character.
and then also,
Which I think was Christian's dream come true, because Christian was really hoping for Cobra Kai to get on stage, and it happened. So
I
I know
also,
Christian was hyped in the audience.
I also really
Yes,
like,
Mia.
was it Android? Emma was so funny with that, because, like, playing a robot character, to me, is one of the funnier characters you can play in a game, because it's like, you can say anything here. As long as you
Yeah.
have, like, that stupid, like, just straight, like, I think this. Da 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 da. Because it's so fun, in my opinion,
Hey,
at least.
I'm not gonna say anything, Mia. When the AI overlords show up, you might be cooked with that quote on the internet.
Hey,
Just saying.
they got me already.
They're coming for you already.
Did you see that? Did you see
That was
that?
subtle. That was a subtle foreshadowing.
They were like,
They're gonna turn you into one thing and one thing only. Just a bunch of fireworks.
no, I thank my Alexa every time I use it.
Me too, actually. Away from our AI overlords. Yeah, no, this was so funny. I think Alejandro's Cobra Kai character. He was what's his name? Tony LaRusso. I don't know the
I think his
main character.
first
of
name
Cobra.
Tony, last name something.
I think it's like LaRusso or something.
Something like
All I
that.
know is that he goes, "Put him in a body bag, Johnny," or at least someone says that in the movie that has him. It was good. It was funny all around. They were so good. All their characters were goofy. Mullet Man Merle, super
Oh my
haha.
god, I loved Mullet Man Merle.
Mullet Man Merle didn't miss with every single line.
I also
And go ahead.
I also just really like Roman in the middle of the game going, the sanity in this room has taken a nosedive. Just
This guy gets it. Like that is the energy every single time.
it was so
Mullet Man
good.
Merle. Mullet Man Merle just gets it. You know what I mean? And he knows who gets it. You know. And okay, Weekend at Bernie's.
I was excited for this one.
This was a fun one. I
I need
I
to
will
give
let you go. Go ahead, Mia. I'll let you run rampant on this.
Cool.
One.
I need to give props to Allie first of all, because I was sitting here and I was like, they need to move. They need to move or this game's gonna be so scary to watch. And then Allie's like, I think we need to move more and then proceeds to move everyone around and I'm like, yay! Thank you, Allie, for sensing my brain. Weekend at Bernie's is a big favorite over at Del Sol. Like, every time I'm like, guys, you want to play Weekend at Bernie's? And they're like, oh, Weekend at Bernie's! And I'm like, I don't know why that's the game they're like, latched onto, but, like,
Catnip.
goated, I guess. There's also just this really funny Doc line where he's like, you ain't no Spielberg, buddy.
Yes! I gotta remember that.
Like, he says it so incredibly seriously to Roman, and then Roman just goes, yeah, you aren't either. Anyways, I need to get the shot. And I'm like, this is ridiculous.
I think one of my notes is I came to a realization during this game of Roman's deadpan gives heavy Daria, is what I put.
Oh.
And I was like, yes. Is that why I find you so funny? You're a Daria Morgendorfer come to life? Because it is hilarious. It was so good. Roman's just deadpan delivery over and over was having me giggle.
I think
I don't know if Roman is the peak of stoicism or not, but man,
Roman's
thank you, Roman,
so
for
funny.
your. Can we? My biggest prop actually from Weekend at Bernie's. It's one that isn't even someone who's actively technically performing in the moment, except they managed to do it. Allie being dead in Weekend at Bernie's is so entertaining. Full commitment to being thrown around physically. Allie, I think, might have torn their ACL while playing this game.
Allie just is always in, was it IR?
I had that. Del Sol, Allie is going to be back on IR soon. And it's okay. You know, for those who don't understand, never been on injured reserve. You haven't seen enough of Allie performances. Was Allie injured in this show too?
Allie, I think, hurt her foot last week, which is why she wasn't there last week.
Same thing. You know what I mean? IR. Oh, that's true. IR Allie was gone last week. I remember because I made the joke. Yeah, Allie. Oh my goodness. Being dead, amazing ability is to have in your improv back pocket.
So,
So,
one of the gimmicks, for those of you who don't know what Weekend at Bernie's is, if you
oh
guys
yes,
have seen Survivor, it is basically Survivor, but instead of leaving the scene, you become a dead body on stage that your scene partners can puppet around. The way I teach Weekend at Bernie's, and like they've been taught it prior to me, was like ragdoll physics is what makes it so funny.
yes,
Because you don't want to actually be dead weight. Moving like you're in Gmod and being swung around is the funniest way to do it.
and Allie was doing that insanely well.
Oh, it was so good. Allie's physical comedy, I think, is one of her biggest strengths that I think she should play into more because it's so
Yeah,
funny to watch.
yeah. Allie was very much cooking. Massive props there for that one.
I also really like. Sorry, last thing I'm gonna say. One thing I really like is that you could tell all three of them know each other well enough because every time they had to pick up each other, they made some sort of in joke about like their performing style or something. And I thought that was really funny because at one point Roman just goes, "Ah, you're no Spielberg, and I'm gonna keep talking." Plop, and I was like, "That's crazy. That's crazy."
I think that's what gave me the Morgendorfer. I think it was Roman's impression because Roman was the last one in
Roman
this one,
was
no?
the last one up, yeah.
Yeah, so because that's what also made Allie so hyped to be dead. Because Allie was like, "I'm not last, yay!" and then just flopped over instantly.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so that's why I had Roman's deadpan gives heavy Daria because it's a deadpan character playing three characters. And so all three of them now are as deadpan as possible. All of their energetic characters,
But with
yeah.
the like really big ragdoll physics.
Yeah, big ragdoll, and then you just hear, "You're no Spielberg, buddy." You know what I mean? Like, okay, now I see why that note makes so much sense. So funny. Oh my goodness. Carbon copy.
Oh yeah.
This was and this is the last game we want to touch on. This one. This one was, oh my goodness gracious. My biggest one here is a couple of notes, a couple of quotes. Sorry. Silence, noob, and excuse me, my dad works for the CIA, and he'll kidnap all of you. From Doc.
Oh my god. No, but there's this other thing that I want to point out with this is I think what makes Carbon Copy to me as a player and a performer or player and a watcher is when you could tell the improvisers start making fun of each other, like not in a bad way, but like they
Yes.
start poking fun at each other. Like
Yes.
Doc moves his hands a lot. So when Alejandro started to carbon copy Doc, the hand movements started to get more crazy. And like the exaggeration of like how crazy their stakes got kept going up as it went, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, Alejandro played a great Doc, and it was so funny to watch. Speaking, yeah, it's like one of those things. Like so, Doc, the way Doc moves his hands, a big one for me when I was a performer. I had like a back in my day, I had like a broccoli cut. So I would often like when I would move, my hair would kind of like wiggle around a lot, and that was always what people would do whenever they had to copy me in any game, whether it be Carbon Copy or I don't know Survivor, whatever it was. Sudden head movements were going insane every single time.
For me, things that people do to me is they get on their knees and be as short as possible when I would get impersonated. Yes.
I think I've seen Mia. I think I've seen you try to be a tall performer and you went up on a chair.
Yes, I do that. That's what this is what a bit I do, and I don't care if you guys take it, but like if there's someone like that's super taller than me, I'll pull a chair and just stand on it and be the character. So I'm tall, because clearly I'm not. But I just want to point out that that's what makes this game so funny, is when you see the improvisers pick up on those small things from each other.
Yeah. And in a game where it's head-to-head, where you don't really know each other, that's what makes it so big, too. Because you guys don't know each other, and you're able to like be like, oh, I'm picking up on something that this performer does. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's so fun, too, because as a performer, what is it? Impression is the highest form of flattery,
yeah.
right? Is that the quote? That stuff is so cool.
Imitation.
When you realize there's something you do that like someone is noticing that you do and they find it so funny, you feel so good. Because you're like, that's hilarious. I don't even like some people realize they do it, other people don't. And when they see that, they're like, it's so cool to see that you're paying attention to me enough where there's something you think is worth over exaggerating that I do. And so that was amazing.
I love it.
In that carbon copy, which is a game we haven't got to see.
Yeah. I also want to say another thing about this game that I liked was just the consistent story.
Yeah.
That's just, I think, something that a lot of replay games that we just like seeing is when it's consistent. And also the line, actually, we're not nerds. Then what are you? Geeks. And that was the consistent line we kept getting through the scenes, and I thought that was a really funny one. And then, unfortunately, we could not watch the rest of the show, because me and Gio did, in fact, have to go backstage.
We couldn't watch the last show because, all the performers backstage for the Wildcard show, they were causing a ruckus and making all this noise. And we were like that one game where it goes, what's all that noise? And so we went backstage and we were like, hey, you know what? You guys are missing 2 performers in this Wildcard show. You know, we know 2 performers. And then, bum, in came the Wildcast.
We came in, Easter egg.
To save the day. No, that's not true.
No.
We were going to be in the show from the jump. But it was so fun.
It was a very fun show to be in. Oh, God, I got to remember the games.
I'll say this. I didn't care. Whatever I got as an ailment, crutch, whatever we call it yet, whatever I got, I would not have minded. Because I'm the one who fed Roman this idea and gave him this power. So I fully deserve whatever evilness I was going to get. Like, I was like, you can get me 4, man. Like, every bad thing that has happened to someone in these shows so far is entirely because of me. So go ahead. You know, oh my goodness. I'm going to, because neither of us have notes for it, obviously, as we weren't.
Remind me the games and I'll be able to tell you what I was thinking.
Our first game was a game, or I guess we'll say who was in the show. It was teams were Chelsea, president over at West Tech, me as well as Mia. And for Team Card, we had Kat, vice president over at West Tech, Kazu over at president over at Clark, and then we had Gabe, cameraman, and extraordinaire, and just fun guy in general.
Like a mushroom. Fungi, mushroom.
There's not much room for that type of comedy in this podcast.
Ha! And that's a groaner foul. A
groaner foul? But Shiitake would give me a potty mouth foul.
What were the games
Mushroom
again?
jokes. Okay, so yeah. All right, cool. So Meanwhile was our first game in this one. And I can't even, what was going on at Meanwhile?
I had fun.
This is what it's like when you're trying to give notes on a game you were in.
Okay. I had fun. Oh God, hold on, I gotta remember what happened in this.
There we go, see?
Okay, wait. Remind me what happened in the show, in this game.
I don't know. Even Sean's notes for Meanwhile are just while.
Oh, wait. Let's read Sean's notes for Meanwhile.
Okay. Sean's notes. DJ Sean took some notes, who also, keep in mind, saved the audio for the day, was Meanwhile. While. How to spell meanwhile. That was Sean's notes for Meanwhile. Meanwhile was
Oh, I remember this. We got into like a bread factory at one point in this, if I remember.
Oh my goodness, I remember one of the jokes. Okay. I only remember because it was a bit I did. So with the thing is with Meanwhile, and I think we eventually got into it, but we even had those moments of where we don't say a location, which is a big thing in Meanwhile. You have to say locations to get things pumping and going forward, right? I think we did a few jokes in here. I think there was one where we were in a mine, and I was like, they were like, "Oh man, I've been in this mine forever." I was like, "I'm only 6 and I'm in this mine." Because I think it was supposed to be like the 1930, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
1906, which is fun. And then I think also at one point they picked up this ginormous, I mean, great physicality from the performers, but they picked up this ginormous, like, pour this into the bread.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yes,
meanwhile, inside a can of condensed milk.
Yes, I remember this.
A little condensed milkies like this.
And then he's like, oh no, a bacteria.
Yeah, and the bacteria. Meanwhile, with the bacteria, yes, the little condensed milk man got taken to the bacteria.
What I liked about it is we eventually got back to where we needed to go. Because even when we were like inside the can, inside the lungs, inside whatever.
I think that was something that Roman noted, is that our meanwhile was similar to that of like a backwards scene.
Yeah, which they're very similar games to begin with, so you're gonna find a lot of overlap. It's like the same thing with Survivor, Weekend at Bernie's, or something like What and Forward Reverse. They're gonna be like some overlap, but one thing I liked about this is I distinctly remember another joke I made was Gabe coming out like, whoa, he had a growth spurt. I said, meanwhile, what was it, at the birthday? And I just was like, oh god, we haven't set a location yet. I was like, this cake from Smith's. I love Smith's. This cake is so good.
I think the growth spurt, I think we saw the birth of Mr. Growth Spurt. And I think he like was like, oh, I'm birthed.
Yeah.
And then he had his growth spurt upon birth. So it's kind of implied that this person has only technically been alive for like 3 weeks, maybe, up to that point of prior when we had seen it. Yeah. Meanwhile, it was a fun one. I had so much fun on stage. When I'm having fun on stage, I really don't remember what's going on.
Yeah, I'm the
next
same way.
game was Foursquare.
Oh, and then we had and then we had Kid Roman come up.
Yes.
And host it.
Yes.
So we had host Roman perform in a game.
Makes me happy.
I love watching Roman perform so much. Because Roman does not give himself enough credit. I sincerely feel like Roman is one of like the strongest performers I've watched in a while. So funny, being able to pick up on everything happening. Props to Kid Roman also for just getting thrown into like hosting a game after never hosting a game before. I think they did just a really good job of just like, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna have fun with it, and I'm gonna see what happens. And I thought that was like just really fun to watch.
I remember this one had a lot of the characters meeting each other at the end of their Foursquare was very, very big because they all felt like they made so much sense. I think one of the characters, I think it was Roman, who was like the teacher at like a clown college.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, Squirty, squirt me. And then he was like, what? And it was like, I was like, what's going on? I was like, he's got the little rose. That line was crazy for about 2 seconds there. But yeah, no, it was overall, I really liked watching their Foursquare. Oh my goodness.
Cat?
Oh, that's why we have no notes. We spent the time also doing the switches.
Yeah, but also, I want to say, Cat's physicality as a zombie was so impressive to me, because Cat would be like standing super straight up, like, I'm this character, and then Zombie just immediately dropping down. I was like, that ate. I love that. I love seeing like just the commitment to having a very physical character, especially in a game like Foursquare. It makes it so much like more visually interesting. And also it's easier for you as a performer, like when the square inevitably gets mixed up, you remember where you are.
I think before this game too, Kat was like, how do you play Foursquare? So
that's right.
That was really cool to see them be able to put it together that quickly. And even a front to back. You know what I mean? So I mean, Kat, great job being a weird little zomble and cooking in your zomble role. This was a fun one. For the other team, Joy. We played a game of Jeopardy. Let's talk about
Jeopardy. Okay. Well, I'll talk about your character, and if you want to comment on mine, cool. I'm gonna talk about Chelsea first. Chelsea plays a super simple character of, I am a Disney adult from Anaheim, California, and I have my annual pass. And it's like, that's a super strong, simple, baseline character. And then there's me and Gio.
Well, I think it worked beautifully. Chelsea picked an amazing role being that character because we needed the quote unquote straight man, the normal character, right?
Right.
The at least more normal character because of how odd of choices Mia and I went for. For reference as to how crazy Mia and our character mindsets were, Mia's character's name was Normal Man, Norman. I had the same character name in mind, which is also a reference to Gravity Falls.
Yeah.
So I had to hold myself off of doing that name once I heard Mia had that name.
We are in sync, is what you will learn.
It was so funny, but that should give you reference as to how unnormal our respective characters were.
Yeah.
I'll talk. Do you want to talk about my character, or I guess my character was champion? So we'll talk about Mia.
Go ahead. What do you have to say?
So Mia's character, let's say, was very much from Earth.
Yeah.
Very, very, very much
human,
from Earth.
Very man-like. Very mindful. Very demure.
Oh yeah, no, he was normal. He was so normal. He was so from Earth that like eventually liquid and like I don't know, like tentacles started spewing out of his body.
I collapsed at one point.
And he collapsed at one point. He was so from Earth. He was like, oh, I'm from Earth. Don't you even stress, man.
No, because for reference, what I did was I tried to, because this is a character I feel like every improviser has like a few characters they just keep in their back pocket to like pull out at some point. Norman is a character I have in my back pocket at all times, but I don't use that often because I don't have an excuse to use it. And then I was like, okay, today's the day I use Norman, which is just this, I just am twitching the whole time, and I'm like, I'm human. Human things for 20, and it's just the slow devolving into a weird monster.
Yes. And then, so going from that, which like, you know, you're like, okay, so whatever Mia's character is definitely not normal, right? And then you get Chelsea, who's like, Anaheim, California. You know
I love Disney.
Chelsea, you're so good at, I think that's like the full embodiment of that person too. Like, I want to say Chelsea played that character to as maximum of that character acting. Like, that is exactly how that character would exist on this planet.
Mm-hmm.
I've met at least 4 different people in my life who probably are from Anaheim, California, have their pass, and love Disney. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking full Disney or Datney. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking full Jafar, J-Close.
Stop
like, you know,
it.
like the whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, all of those jokes. And great job, Chelsea.
And then we get to Gio.
Okay, I'll say this. I'll let Mia maybe talk about my character.
Maybe.
Before I even clarify as to who my character is, I just want to say Emma's parents, based off of one of our preseason shows, loved a character I had done prior. And what they asked of me was, if I'm ever on stage this season, to scare Roman and make him feel as uncomfortable as possible on stage because my other character did that. And I said, I got you. That was a game of advice panel. So this is a game of Jeopardy, which I have a whole nother chance to be as weird as possible. Go ahead, Mia.
So
what did you think of?
Let's start first. Gio, prior this whole day, has a sore throat and is going in the back and using throat spray because it's not going. Proceeds to pull out the most guttural, throaty voice you could possibly use as a sick person. Gio is hunched over, mildly twitching, and he's like, and just groaning and being guttural, and he's like, I'm Hank. And it's just,
Yeah, so his...
And poor Roman is standing there just going, oh god. After, like, you go from me to Chelsea to Gio,
he knew what he was getting into. He could see the way I was standing. He knew he was going to get into something he didn't want to have to learn about.
What made this funny is that we get to, like, so in Jeopardy, there's, like, the buzzer test. And you have me and Chelsea going, like, beep and slay, or whatever Chelsea said. I think Chelsea said something like Disney or something like that. It was something very, very, like, simple and clean. And then Gio's just like, ah, ah.
I want to point out, my buzzer every time goes on for like 20 plus seconds.
And it got longer as the game goes on.
Oh my goodness. One of the bits I liked, there was a couple notes in here that we had gotten from Sean on Jeopardy. And it was so obviously my noise, I was messing around with Roman as much as possible. I want to point out, as a character, you can literally, the smallest things can be part of your character. I made my character essentially his buzzer. His buzzer was my character. Like, he just was some weird, grovelly old man. Whenever I had to actually answer the question, I was like, I don't remember the question. Which is also partially true. I had an answer in there that that it was from Mia. So Mia starts tweaking and becoming this mega monster alien thing on the floor.
Yeah.
And I go, this is one of the quotes from Sean that Sean took. It's, is that a disease? Can I catch that? And then I think Roman goes, I don't think there's a disease you don't have. And then I think the second to last question of the game was like, whatever the answer was, it was in the same like vein as like measles or something, like a random disease. And I think I went, what is a disease that I actually do not have? So, and then I think I answered by as far as going, measles, the thing you just said. You know what I mean? Breaking the game is so fun, and I took full advantage of that with my Jeopardy character. Oh, I had so much fun.
Shout out
you just had to be there to hear the
yeah. I think what makes this funny is you keep cutting out. Is shout out to Chelsea for just having both me and Gio on opposite sides of her going absolutely bonkers and just saying stupid things and just reacting.
Sorry, I'm fixing my camera.
But, right, like, Chelsea just did a really good job of just reacting to both of us.
No, amazing. Absolutely amazing job, especially with how chaotic we were being. Once again, so every single game should have this wavelength of energy in it. And Chelsea, amazing job figuring out to be this chill character. I think Chelsea probably had an idea. The fact that the moment the game starts, Mia's already going to be something weird. Chelsea knows how to fit into a scene beautifully from what I've seen based off of their performance history. Chelsea just knows what to do. And then on the other side, you have me hunched over. I think I'm already kind of starting to make like weird noises. Probably.
You're grunting through all the introductions.
I think I was.
Yeah.
Not actually saying anything, but I wanted to be. My character is very much here and obnoxious. I think that game probably had an 8-minute runtime. Probably 3 minutes were just my buzzer.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, 6 things was in this. We had, some of the most evil suggestions I think I'd ever read in my entire life. I don't even have them anymore. I think one of our suggestions that we had on our team was someone in 6 things saying the wrong thing was one of them. I think there was another one that was. It was also something.
I was cooked, is what we're saying. Me and
Yeah.
Gabe were cooked. We were like, what are we
Yeah,
doing?
they didn't stand a chance.
Um,
As they said in Fallout New Vegas, the game was rigged from the start. You know what I mean? Like
it really was. It truly, honestly was. Because when I came out, I'll say this about myself. I'm a very confident guesser. I love guessing. It is one of my favorite things to do in improv. I was sitting there and I was like, what am I not getting? And I'm like whispering like to Roman. I'm like, Roman, am I crazy?
Oh my gosh. I remembered the other thing you had to guess. That feeling when you recognize someone and they also recognize you. That was the suggestion. That full body of text had to be said back towards us. That feeling when you recognize someone, but they also recognize you.
Here's the thing. With the guessing, I'm gonna just point this out to anyone who watched it. To just praise myself and Gabe. The thing that made the guessing so interesting was just having that like character and like the non-stop like just talking. The thing I do is I like to give myself a character and then I start guessing because it makes it easier for me to like think that way, because sometimes I'll unintentionally say something. So I gave myself this stupid character of like, I'm an anime character that just is going through every arc possible.
Oh.
I don't know if you caught that, but that was my bit through the whole thing.
I was moderately mentally panicking over the suggestions I had been given.
So fair. I just need to be known, at one point I did just go, this is me after my best friend just died in my arms in the arc battle at the end of the last arc. And then I came back.
I did hear that. Okay.
And then I was like, it was just, I think, aside from stupid references, the characterization actually really helped with the guessing, because I had like these tropey things I was saying, it kind of alluded to some of the things that I was really close to getting. Like, at one point I did look and I was like, I know you, because you remind me of someone from my past, and I was like, that close.
I forget what of the suggestions they had. Their suggestion was very meta in the sense where it was like,
I know Frank Sinatra was
like,
one of their suggestions.
Frank Sinatra was one of them. They had one that was so meta. It was like Chelsea, Gio, and Mia playing Six Things or something like that. Like, it was something to that level of like, now how are we gonna get them to get that without just pointing? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I felt so bad for the other team too. I was like, this is so hard.
No, but props to Kazu and Kat for just going and like, because
they went for it.
I cheated and I turned around and was like looking at them because I was just curious what they were doing. Dude, they were like going ham. Like, they were doing the most they could do within the parameters of those guesses.
They did everything possible. It was just the suggestions were hard. Okay, because this is a long one. This is 100% a long one. Honestly, Mia, you can cut out 95% of it, and it will still be an hour long.
Yeah.
We've been recording this for the past 10 hours.
I'm cooked.
It's currently 6 a.m.
Yeah.
That's not true. But what is true is that we like to give some very, very quick props at the end of it, and this is a very, very quick props. Mia, what is a little singular or random prop you would like to give out for this week?
I'm giving my prop to Emma from Desert Oasis, who absolutely cooked. They were in 2 shows this week. My God, every character they did was super consistent, despite not having a coach or despite not having any consistent practices. This kid just like comes out the gate swinging and is like so much fun to watch.
Yeah, that is because Emma hasn't had a teacher for what, a year, 2 years, I think. Mm-hmm. So this coaching credit towards Emma goes all the way back to, I think, 2023, which would be credit towards Corey. So great job, Corey, teaching Emma and having Emma learn all this stuff. Emma, you're so good and talented, and we appreciate having you at every show possible. So funny. Thank you and your parents for bringing Emma every single week. Massive credit to you guys, all of you, and so very appreciated. Emma is cooking this year, and I want that to be very, very much known, that your performing is not undernoticed. You've done super good. My prop for this week, I think I think we brought a bit of shine to it, and I think it is a worthwhile prop though. I want to give my prop this week out over to Kazu over at Clark for being that gel right there. Oh my goodness. We've said it a couple times throughout the day, the show. I don't know what we want to say.
The pod.
Point being, we said it a couple times. The pod. We said it a couple times where Kazu, we've given you credit for being able to be this glue that is like connecting scenes and keeping them going. Massive, massive props to you. You have been doing that all year. You've been doing that. I think for as long as I've seen you as a performer. Last year you were doing the same thing. So good. So much credit towards you. I want you to be very, very appreciative of yourself. And thank you. We had you in 3 shows this week. So Kazu, be proud of yourself. One of them was a back-to-back show. Back-to-back, like, well, I'm not going to say that because that guy lost the beef. But back-to-back, like that one artist who made the song back-to-back. Yeah, no, Kazu, you've been great. You've been great. So be so very proud of yourself. You've done amazing. And with that, I say we should just go straight into last second announcements. Speaking of Chaparral High School, where this all took place, massive credit to Mr. English for hosting us. Oh my goodness. Shep doesn't even have a school. Mr. English, coolest person on the planet. If you've never met him, so chill.
Very
chillest guy ever. He is the chillest guy. Like, I just asked him something, he goes, oh, we could probably do that. I was like, yeah, I love this guy. It doesn't take a lot to make me a happy person. You just got to be like, yep, sounds good. I'm like, all right, cool. Basically, Mullet Merle from earlier, that Ethan's character, that's basically all I need. Ethan at Ekta. Overall, though, speaking of Shep, April 5th and April 12th. Oh my goodness. We have playoffs and championship day set. So, if week 5 is the last week of the regular season, which will be hosted over at Valley High School, March 8th, we have playoffs set in motion. The playoff format for everyone confused or wanting some form of knowledge how it will work. Due to how weird our season has been, we will have 8 schools performing in a playoff bracket, to which the winners of those will then go on to perform in another show at the end of the day. And that will set up who's going to be our championship show. So get so hyped. Some performers are going to be ready to perform unprepared, and they're just suddenly going to be like, yeah, you're in a second show. And the second show is kind of long. So you guys got this. But it will be good. We will have judges. We will have the whole thing. And it's going to be amazing. And we're all going to bring our best. It's going to be so entertaining. I think every playoff show is always better. Like, I think all teams do so good. Saying bye to any team is painful. Like, it hurts. Like, physically. You're like, there's no way. They are so funny. Yeah. But don't worry, we will find more ways to see you guys on stage. What? Is there like perhaps a show that involves like a specific performer from your team that happens on championship day? Ooh. I don't know. I might have referenced it at some point during the show. I don't know. Or this episode. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. But you do know what I am saying? I'm saying one big thing. One big goodbye. And you know how I'm going to make this one big goodbye?
Sure.
The only way I know how. Mia, do it with me. You ready?
Yeah.
Bam! This is how we say bye around here.
I don't have that effect.
Well, I do. Fireworks, explosions, and happiness. Thank you, guys. We'll be seeing.
Editor Mia, I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah, Editor Mia's cooked. I'm sorry. Funny thing is, before this, we agreed that this was going to be the shortest one.